up, everyone? Guys, welcome to the TMC's developer studio. We do have Jimmy Whisenhunt.
I don't even know, to be honest.
I'm from Georgia, so I butcher everything. So it's
Sorry,
okay.
I'm from Oklahoma, so I don't even know what my name is. Whisenhunt, I guess? That's fine.
I'm Virginia,
yeah,
so he's my sister.
No. So welcome to our stream, man. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for taking time out of your busy day, because you do have the patch tomorrow to get ready for, and you also have a show right after this. So we're going to just kind of jump right into it. If you wouldn't mind, I guess, just giving us a little bit of history about yourself as a developer. Like I said, this is Developer Studio, so we're going to focus on you some and then move on into the actual patch.
Sure, yeah. Once again, my name's Jimmy Whisenhunt. I'm currently a senior game designer here at Daybreak Games. I started over here 3 years ago, working on PlanetSide 2, came in as a consultant and worked in FPS, and this is my third project here. Worked on a Black Vouch project before H1Z1. This is actually what it eventually ended up becoming, H1Z1. One day we were like, oh, we really like these games, let's make one. So yeah, and I've been the combat guy since we had the idea to make the game. So yeah.
And what other games have you worked on?
PlanetSide 2, Sturm and Drang, and now H1Z1.
Okay. And which one have you liked the most working on?
Yeah, that's not a fair question. Come on. Honestly, though, it has been H1Z1 so far, and I say that only because the crowd that comes with this. So, like, I am of the internet folk. Like, I've been playing like Counter-Strike 15 years back days at IRC and just trolling constantly. And the survival genre brings that kind of crowd, and I enjoy it. Like, people seem consistently surprised when they're being rude on Reddit that they very quickly find rude responses. So I don't know. Like, I like that kind of fun on Twitter and everything. So it's been fun working on this game.
I gotta say, Smed has some of the best responses ever when it comes to angry customers. So,
yeah,
it's pretty good. But like on the actual patch tomorrow, let's see on the notes. I know a few things were kind of taken off or added today. So I think we're going to try and go over some of them that were removed. And if anything you don't want to talk about, just say it.
We're pretty open, so whatever.
Okay. All right, good to know. So Steam Friends. It's a really big function for Steam, is being able to join your friends' games. But what about the people that you don't want joining your games on your friends list? Or the people that you don't want always coming into your games and ruining them, or instead of just blocking them, but you still don't want to hurt their feelings?
Man, that sounds complicated.
You know those friends that you're friends, but you're not friends?
They're the guys that like try to join a matchmaking, and you're like, you're silver too, man. I don't know how to tell you this, but no. Yeah, no, I know what exactly you mean. That's something we actually were having some pretty in-depth conversation about, is under what circumstances do we want to allow people to see server information, and when they do join as friends, how do we want them to be able to find each other? And with the grouping system, with pre-grouping, and we've had a lot of conversations about that. A lot of it's still in talks right now. But we want it to be very selective, and we don't want any of the information to be public. Because the last thing we want, especially anywhere from just you and your friends that you might not want playing with you at that point in time on your server, to a streamer, Soda Poppin' or somebody going on, and everyone in the world knows what server he's in, and he just gets destroyed for an hour. So we're being very careful with that.
Well, I play EVE Online, so any streamer in EVE Online basically will get stream sniped immediately.
Of course.
So I'm kind of used to that already. But
and that can cost years of work, right? Like, I mean, that can cost lots and lots and lots of pain. So
exactly. So in EVE, it's you either deal with it or you actually start putting a delay, and I actually don't mind it, so I just kind of roll with it. But I guess I'm looting packets of sugar.
I was actually wondering, Jimmy, that you had on there for a little bit, but recently it's been removed. The Steam inventory. So buying, selling, trading through that. Could you talk a little bit about that, how that's going to work, and how you envision that will happen in the future, or how soon?
Sure, absolutely. So we had it on there initially a little bit earlier, but this is one of those things that we need to make sure just works, right? I mean, like, this is not just us. This is on Steam's end, too, so we want to make sure that we work together well to make sure this thing goes out flawlessly, at least to the best of our ability. But the way it's going to work is similar to other games on the Steam market now. I mean, like, if you buy and sell skins in Counter-Strike and the cases and everything else, it's going to work just like that. So if you go out and you unbox the rare helmet from the first series of crates, like I did, I swear to God, this was all natural. I did it on stream. No one, like, everyone thought it was rigged because I'm a developer. I spent my own money on station cash through Steam. Third box I opened, I got the rare helmet from the first series, and to this day,
now I kind of feel bad, actually, because I was at Sony Studio in, I think, January, or no, it was December, I think, and we were playing Counter-Strike, not Counter-Strike, PlanetSide on Clegg's account, and
Oh,
we went in there and bought him some nice Christmas skins that he
Oh,
probably
nice.
didn't want with his own station
Nice.
cash.
That's not very nice, but nice. Like, I
Yes.
respect that. But yeah, that's the way it's going to work. You'll be able to get cases from other people. That's one of the bigger things. For a long time, people had asked, like, how do I get more cases? You're not dropping enough of them. And because this system was originally intended to go along with the Steam Marketplace, this will help those people out. Like, I'm one of those guys who spends a ton of money on cases. I just like trying to get things. It's fun. So you'll be able to buy the cases that other people don't want. So if you don't open cases, you go sell your cases. Someone else buys them, and then you take that money you earned to then go just buy the skin you want. You know what I mean?
So like I said, it's going to be a lot like Counter-Strike's system then.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of games out there. Counter-Strike being one of the examples, it'll be like that, which is really intuitive. It's easy to use, and it's all done through Steam, which is really cool.
Okay, yeah, it's really awesome. So is there any particular items like it's going to be? Like you use Counter-Strike as an example, and it's a really good example, like gun skins and stuff like that. So it's going to be all cosmetic stuff, or there's actually going to be some sort of like special items, unique items that we don't see in other games.
So these will be all the things from the crate. So any account items, all right? So anything that, when you log in game, you open up your inventory, and anything that falls under that category of account items will be able to be sold there, all the way down to keys. I mean, the keys you can sell if you'd like. A lot of people end up using that as currency in other games, Dota and the rest. So we're just kind of opening up the market and setting all the account stuff to be able to be sold, and then people will do with it what they will. And we're really excited for people to finally be able to get rid of those dupes, or possibly be able to buy that the cross shop emote they wanted, or whatever it is. So yeah.
And this goes for Battle Royale and Survival Mode gear?
Yes, anything that has come out of a case or the case itself, any of that stuff.
Oh, that's really awesome. I like that because I spend a lot of money on keys in Counter-Strike Go, and then I never get anything good. So it's, I guess I'm more of a masochist when it comes to the cash shop stuff.
I have spent a lot of my own money in H1Z1 myself. I have video proof, and I wish I didn't, because now I feel broke. I actually got some good stuff, though, so it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I only had to play Battle Royale 50 times to get that Paisley shirt,
Right. Oh my God. Sorry, sidebar.
Go for it.
The artists were like, hey, we have this Paisley shirt, and like me, Clay Glenny, and a couple of other designers were like, that's the greatest thing we've ever seen.
I know, right?
And they're like, really? Why would people want this? I'm like, no, trust me. Like, people are going to want this shirt.
And it goes great with the red hat.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the little things, man.
It's the apocalypse. Like, we talked about like Hello Kitty backpacks and stuff forever ago, where it's like, would we have that style of thing? They're like, that's not very serious. But it is.
What?
I mean, you're in the apocalypse, and you just take what you get. Like, if I'm trying to survive and I need to carry water, I will take a Hello Kitty backpack. I mean, I don't care what I look like, right?
Yeah.
Personally, I'd like one of those helmets with the beer holders.
Yes.
And able to put water in it and use it as a consumable item.
That would be incredible. That would be incredible.
And all of this, all these items are gender interchangeable, right? When there's females in the game.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. Well, I guess moving away from the inventory, the screen effects that are coming. Do you have any more examples? Like, I know alcohol and like other games where you kind of get like dizzy and stuff. Is it basically the same thing where blurred screen, or like you said, night vision, which the green tint and all that? Is there any other special effects that you're thinking of, or like any other symptoms that you might be getting?
Yeah, no, we've got a lot of stuff. I mean, the cool screen effects, like as a designer, is a dream. Like it allows us to just really do whatever the heck we want, and we don't know what that will entail for the next couple of years or whatever. But we're doing a pretty big rewrite of the system that's going to allow us a lot better performance and cooler stuff than what we've been able to do in Forge Light previously. But like you said, it'll be your night vision, your drunk, your swizzle, and all that. The other thing, too, is that will come along with the H1Z1 virus as we move forward. That'll allow us to maybe get a little bit of night vision from that H1Z1 virus and feel like you're actually getting infected and be able to see players a little bit better and stuff like that. So we can do some really cool things. It also includes things like the flashbangs and smoke effects and literally anything that we want to show on your screen. One of my favorite things, though, we had early on is to be able to communicate a little bit better, other than just the bars on your screen, what's happening to your character. So and I'm not a big fan of like huge color grading or getting in your way with effects, but as you lose health, it would be nice to have some sort of vignette or something in the corner that just subconsciously says to you like, I'm hurt or I'm bleeding in first person, so you know what to do about it. And we can start doing some things like that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, because I mean, most of the things, like you have the little the notifications around your character, like the little splashes that pop up, but something being a little bit more visible and a little more detail is definitely welcomed.
So all of that comes under bringing screen effects online. Is that
Yes.
right?
Now they'll roll in little by little. It's not going to be like a huge onslaught of screen effects into the game, but the first things that we're going to be trying to get out there are like the night vision and the H1Z1 virus. The night vision is really cool because we're talking about things with battle royale, with the first person only, more hardcore, and having
Yeah.
night vision goggles in the world that may start in the evening and head on into night. So you got to be looking for night vision goggles to finish that thing out, and that's cool. Like that's a cool thing. And the type of effects we're talking about aren't just make your screen green. If there is a light, it's gonna blow out your screen just like night vision would. I mean, just like IR would. So it'll be cool.
I'm actually really terrified of the effect of flashbangs while wearing night vision.
I didn't even consider that combination. That'd be horrible and awesome. Can't
Fall
wait.
over.
I've already got my lawsuit pending for my blindness that's going to occur like in real life from it.
Sure.
So are you saying that we won't see any of those tomorrow, but you're just bringing those screen effects online so we can start to see those screen effects in the coming weeks?
So with this, shortly after this, we're going to be doing a little bit of a show and tell of tomorrow's patch. We'll be able to show what's coming immediately. The system itself is coming online. I will have to check the progress of a couple of the issues we were having to push it. We don't want to just throw it out there and have it like half broken. We will sometimes push out features that are functional but maybe aren't the prettiest. But this is one of those things, is to be functional, it needs to be pretty. Does that make sense? So we will show off a couple of the effects manually, and if they're making the patch tomorrow, fantastic. If not, it's always one of those things we can push as we move forward through the week and maybe next week.
Yeah, and you mentioned the H1Z1 virus, Z1 virus having different effects on your character. I know the increased or night vision was mentioned, and then like player presence, I think you mentioned. Is there any other like ideas already thought up of different attributes? Like, I know Rydis and I were talking about it yesterday while we're getting ready for the show. Like maybe like increased run speed or anything like that.
So there's a lot of effects that come with H1Z1. I won't throw them all out there. We'll talk a little bit about it later. But part of it is your food may not be the most appetizing thing after a short amount of time. You may start needing to eat some guts and human animal flesh, things like that. So there are downsides to it. You start taking a little bit of damage. You can balance this out with your cold medicine and your immunity boosters, who a lot of you guys have seen in game already, and be like, what the heck do I need this for? Those things are going to start coming into effect. So those you've been stockpiling, finally your time has come. But over time, it'll be easier to track players. But if you don't balance this thing well, you're just going to die. So, yeah.
So speaking of dying, so these zombie effects, are they just going to kind of go in and out as you attempt to maintain the virus? Are there some people who are going to want to go deep into zombie senses and maybe even turn into a zombie or die?
So there are a lot of people who... We're not quite to the point where you're going to be a zombie. But, at that point, you just die. That is like, I guess, the representation is if you die, you have now become a zombie. You're no longer yourself. So you just respawn. But there will be people out there, and I'm going to try to do it. We'll just try to ride that line of the biggest advantages from having a really heavy H1Z1 virus. Yeah. But once again, it will be a challenge to do that. You need to make sure that you have the proper amount of medication to keep you on that edge.
Yeah, that was my next question. Was if you could actually get a certain effect and then like, all right, I just want that one effect, and then start dosing up and maintaining that level.
Right.
Is it possible to take too many of those immunity boosters or whatever and then lose the effect, or
yeah, you'll push yourself back out. So I mean, you can.
So it's a sliding
cure
bar.
yourself out if you haven't fallen all the way into the virus. So yeah, sliding bar there.
Yeah. Perfect.
What I was wondering was, a lot of people are really looking forward to zombie senses, running real fast, or night vision, or maybe sensing other players nearby. And so is there anything that is really a con to that, besides eventually dying? But we all die, don't we, in H1Z1?
That's very deep.
I never die.
It's a very deep statement.
But will there be kind of counterbalances to that? Because people seem to think that's going to be this uber character. I'm going to have night vision, and I'll know when people are near.
So it's obviously going to be a tuning process. I mean, if we find that we can notice players from too far away, or we happen to find that you can see too well at night and all these things, we can always tune that stuff back. But the big side effect isn't that just suddenly you hit the edge of, like the highest stage of the virus and just die. It's the deeper you go into the virus, the more damage over time you're taking. So you're actually dying the entire time, even if your virus isn't going up. So at the lower stages of the virus, you start gaining some of these things, you're going to be taking damage even then. So you need to be bandaging, and you also need to be eating more. And you also, once again, you need to be eating food that's harder and harder to come by from living things. It's not just the can of beans anymore. It's not gonna work. So it will be much harder to survive that way.
Animal things or
Yeah, no, I mean,
things?
if you go out and people things too. People things.
Oh,
too.
so
go out there eating some guts.
If
So I
you
can
end up killing,
disembowel someone.
yeah, if you do kill another player, you're able to actually feed off them, maybe.
Yes.
Rip their hearts
Yes.
out.
And people have been asking about this
Scream
forever. They're like,
primarily.
when can I eat my friends who are worthless to me in game? It's like, well, now. So now
Well-
that guy that you're not sure you really trust to play with you in this game, you bring him along anyway, and you're like, all right, buddy,
Sure, sure, come into my server.
right.
Next people are gonna be asking with the new restraints is can I handcuff someone and then like cannibalize them while they're alive?
So no, I mean we
kinda
haven't
brutal,
quite gone
but-
there yet.
happen.
It was to say it doesn't happen, but yeah, not yet. That's not one of those things we have in the plans.
Oh, so
Speaking of that, you're implementing, what was it, handcuff or captive inspect?
Yes.
Is that okay? So that'll be implemented. So I imagine someone. I mean, I'm guessing the reason this was put in is the kind of fun idea that you could capture someone. They would capture you. They could look in your inventory and, see if they want to kill you or let you go.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, so when you do capture someone, as of right now, like on live before we patch anything out, is just like you handcuff them and then you just watch them run around, which is actually hilarious. But it's
Right.
not, it doesn't serve much purpose. The whole point of this is if you have a little bit better chance of surviving if you have no gun. They have a gun. You put your hands up, they handcuff you and take what they want. There's at least a 3% chance they're not going to kill you. They might just let you go. Who knows? But this
3%.
doesn't able right. Yeah, this doesn't enable the player who has handcuffed you to walk up and then take things out of your inventory. Is
Oh,
the
they
biggest-
can't do that, but they can force you to drop something and say, "Hey, I know you're carrying, these 308s, so you
Right.
need to drop them,
Right.
and I'll let you go."
Well,
This is going to
eventually
turn
if-
out kind of like the I'm friendly thing, isn't it?
Wait, what do you mean? In what way?
Well,
Drop
tell you
those
when you're
308s in
friendly,
your
and then-
inventory, and I'll let you go.
Right.
Okay, here you go.
Hey, who knows? Once again, if you say no, what if they just shoot you then? Because they can take them if they kill you, so you might as well drop them and then be like, you know what, this guy, he's a human, and then shoot you anyway or not. Who knows? You never know.
And then eat your
That's the
heart out.
beauty. Yeah, it's the beauty of a sandbox game. You never know what's going to happen.
It's very interesting. There's a lot of different possibilities that are going to be involved with it. And just from my interpretation of the patch notes, you eventually want to be able to allow the person to gain access to the entire character, like take whatever you're holding, like your AR-15, etc.
Yes.
Okay.
And by the way, Siberians, yes, I made up that stat. Did you know that 50% of all statistics ever listed in history were actually made up?
Is the 50% actually made up though? Because that's actually a stat.
Who knows?
Hey, so what about these high explosive grenades? I'm interested about that. I really like explosives in the game. So tell us a little bit about that. What kind of damage they do?
They're huge damage. So I've actually been working on that a lot. So my last week has been working on Molotovs to get those things to work a little bit better. When you put them in, it's definitely a first pass, rough draft. This is still a little bit of a rough draft, but they're performing a little bit better. The throwable system in general is a pretty complicated thing for us to get working exactly how we would expect it, and probably you guys would expect it. So when I throw a Molotov and it hits a player, you would expect it to impact that player, right?
Right.
Right.
It's not doing that just yet, but so same with the HE grenades. If I throw one, it'll bounce off anything in the world, like a car that it's moving around, or it'll the walls, or the terrain. But it's still not impacting the players. But these things will kill you instantly if you're too close to them. If you're within about a meter of them, they will kill you instantly, and it goes out to about 8 meters and goes down to about 20% damage minimum.
Yeah, I saw the video on your Twitter that you posted about the
that
HE
gif.
on the cop car.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that was we're cleaning up the animations a little bit. We're gonna have some custom throw animations for all this sort of things because we're gonna be adding more to the throwable system. It's not just gonna be grenades. We'd love to see a world where we can throw our hatchet. If like every martial arts movie ever, like you're done with your gun, just throw it at the guy.
that'd be crazy.
It'll take some time to get all that stuff ready, but that's why we're kind of slow rolling this stuff out. We want to make sure that we're doing this the right way, that it's going to work pretty well, and so on. But the grenades are huge. They will one-shot vehicles. It's difficult to get a grenade on a moving vehicle. It takes about 3 seconds from the time you throw it for that thing to explode. So I can't wait for those incredible moments when someone manages to hit a moving vehicle with a grenade and blow it up.
Does that mean one day we're going to have armored vehicles?
We love that's the direction we want to head one day. I mean, we would love to have the ability to customize vehicles with different resists to explosions and bullets and other things because we're getting closer and closer. We have some of it working internally where you can actually shoot a character out of the car. So we want to be there pretty quick. The customization stuff will take some time, but yeah, we'd love to do that.
Right.
I had a player in H1Z1 get really mad at me the last time we streamed it, and I shot the front windshield of his truck 3 times, and his entire truck blew up, and he was pretty upset. So,
Yeah.
But of course, everyone would prefer just to kill him and then keep his vehicle. So
Of course, yeah. It's kind of a
Right.
lose-lose right now because like you should just blow up the car and you lose everything. So we would much rather have you be able to shoot the character out of the car.
Wow, that'll be awesome.
Uh,
Someone asked
and-
about.
Oh,
Oh,
go ahead.
go ahead.
I'm fine.
Oh, I was just looking at.
Wait, no,
the-
me. Let me talk.
No, okay, you.
All right. Well, someone just asked.
Oh, someone asked here on the chat stream, are they dropping bears into Battle Royale? Because you had listed the first person
person.
Battle Royale is going to be a little harder. You're going to have zombie. Is there going to be wildlife in that as well?
To be determined. I don't know. I mean, bears are relentless, and like you gotta think about Battle Royale. There's so many opportunities for the NPCs of the world to come after you. I mean, because everyone's shooting, everyone has a gun, so they're gonna be a little more ADD, and you're gonna have to worry about things a lot more. Bears might be a little extreme, but we'll see.
They said drop bears on groupers.
See,
Is that
I'm all
your
for it.
answer?
I do not group. The longest my group ever lasted was 30 seconds. That was because I drove both of us off of a cliff, and that was just intentionally.
It was for science, right?
Yeah, I think my exact words were, "Don't worry, I've got this," and then bailed out right before it exploded. I hate grouping.
Well, that's the problem. Is I always make it really really low in the battle royale, and then I'll run into like 5 or 6 people at the top of the mountain whenever the circle shrinks. Or
They're always at the mountain, man.
Yeah,
Always.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you run into that group of people, and you're like, Jesus Christ! I just played this for 40 minutes, and I'm like the last 10 people alive, and then of course everyone else alive is sitting there waiting on me.
Oh, yeah, it takes a long time, and I've mastered the art of hiding and sneaking around. So I've made it to number 5 repeatedly, but not any higher. But sneaking around has its merits.
It does. It
If you had a
does.
good
I mean,
shot.
that's the beauty of it is if you feel like you've got the confidence to go out guns blazing, you absolutely can. And you could also just go down to that guy who has been hanging out in the same bush for 20 minutes waiting
That's
for you to be
me.
there.
You probably killed me. That was me.
But you never know. I mean, once again, like the person in the bush very well could just catch you off guard, no matter how Rambo you've been the entire battle royale, which makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah, battle royale is one of the funnest things or funnest games I actually stream right now because it's instant action. As a CS player, it's something I really love to get into. Is just basically join a matchmaking game or something and start playing.
Sure.
Whereas the survival side of H1Z1 takes time to actually get into and lots of deaths typically. But when it comes to battle royale, it was in the patch notes and then got I think pulled off this morning. The first person mode battle royale is supposed to be kind of like the hardcore mode. Are you guys thinking about lowering the actual or upping the weapon damage for that mode to where it's like kind of like a Call of Duty or a Battlefield hardcore mode?
No, we're gonna keep the damage the same, at least to begin with. I'm a big fan of consistency. I think a lot of us is just to make sure that a weapon's a weapon's a weapon,
Right.
with the exception of like your headshot only servers that we have out there. I mean, we actually the time to kill if you're hitting the target is pretty quick, and as people start getting into the first person only battle royale when that does come out, they'll start to realize that first person combat in a game is a very different game than when you're playing in third person all the time. So I'm looking forward to seeing what people think.
Okay.
I wanted to ask about. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm discovering stuff with my metal sheet, so you keep on going.
Dig a hole or something.
Get a shovel.
I was wondering about the anti-cheat measures since you mentioned them, that you're continuing to fix them. I've been playing H1Z1 nearly since it started, and I've noticed a huge decrease in hackers. I mean, I've actually gone, I guess, a couple weeks without seeing any or being victim to any, and then I'll see 1 or 2 here and there. A lot of people are griping about it, but A lot of people gripe about pretty much anything you mention, including the color of the boots or something. So I've actually found it to be getting really, really a lot better.
Yeah,
Extremely.
I mean,
So what are you guys doing, and how many people have you cut out?
so I don't have specific numbers personally,
Hmm.
and we don't typically comment on specifics of what we're doing, and everyone's experience will vary, right? There's people out there who do see it a lot depending on the server they're on, or just the time of day they play. There's all kinds of different factors that can contribute to one person's experience over another. It's definitely not a problem that's completely solved, but it's definitely one we're working towards solving. We have been getting better and better. We're seeing more and more ban numbers, and it's been thousands and thousands and thousands. I mean, these guys are getting banned like crazy. But it is a war. It's something that will continually be improving, and yeah.
Right. Yeah, and repeatedly sometimes.
Okay.
So, go ahead, Les.
I was just gonna say, if there's anyone with a question in chat, you can tag myself in chat, Laz at LAZTEL. I'll actually type something in here. I'm also playing the game right now, just running around in my underwear. So Lastel, just message me and highlight my name in chat, and we'll see if we can get a question out for Jimmy. He won't have much longer because they are doing a stream right after this on the actual official H1Z1 channel. So make sure you tune in for that, where they'll be going into more detail and actually showing demos from the actual dev server.
Oh, can I interrupt? Siberian says he bets I play PvE. I actually don't. I have not been on a PvE server. I've played like I don't know over like 550 hours, and it's always been PvP and Battle Royale. I'm just a really bad shot, but I'm a sucker.
Yeah, so the first question from Jason is, can we cook grenades?
No, we cannot yet. I want to be able to cook grenades. We just don't have the functionality there just yet. I mean,
Yep.
I can't wait for the person who doesn't realize when we patch that in, and he's just holding it, waiting for the perfect moment. Instead, it just explodes simultaneously. Your buddy just goes up in a ball of flames. Like, what just happened? That'd be great.
It's going to be amazing. And for anyone who doesn't know, who is not a big FPS player, cooking a grenade is basically where you pull the pin and you release the handle and you let it count down. Because a lot of times grenades like a 4-second timer, so you wait for 3 seconds, then let it go, and then so it explodes right on contact. It's just a brief explanation for anyone who did not know what that means. So next question from Salia. What about region locking servers?
Region locking servers, no. I mean, not really yet. We've had a lot of conversation about that, and we see it pop up a lot on Reddit and on Twitter. We may, as we continue to expand, start looking at pings and stuff like that. But I mean, we're not quite there yet. I mean, I think there's just mostly a perception issue that people are having. Some people will come from the perspective of, well, this guy's lagging, I don't want to be playing against him. And other people are like, well, this particular region of the world cheats a lot. And that's actually a huge misconception. But, you know. So it just depends on the motivation and where we end up. But not right now, no.
All right, so next question, which I actually really like this question because I'm reading Reddit and some other stuff while getting prepared for the stream. A lot of people are complaining about how easy it is to blow the doors off and get access to bases. And his question is, get Jimmy to ask Paul when base building is being overhauled.
Get base buildings. Well, that's going to be a constant thing. I mean, we're going to keep adding to the systems we have. There's different aspects to base building. There's like the basis level where we take a foundation, we put it in the world, and how we do all that. So it depends on what you're talking about specifically. I mean, you're talking about just tuning the damage to doors or whatever, because that's a consistent thing. I mean, recently we've changed some of the bullet resistance to doors themselves.
Right.
And I mean, what was it the other day? We actually managed to raid someone's base because they only had a single story. I was streaming, and we had about 75 people with me.
Okay.
And
only 75 people.
Yeah.
Well, no, I didn't expect it at all. Like I just tweeted like, "Yo, come join me on Misery." And these poor two guys had a base at the dam, and they wouldn't let us in. Obviously, they weren't very nice to us. And one guy was standing behind the door with a shotgun aiming upward, and the rest of us were like the Horde in 28 Days Later, or not 28 Days Later, in World War Z, and we're just flying over the top of it. I then saw CDN do it. He trumped me. I think he had like 130 people do that. It was insane. But those are the kind of creative ideas we're seeing now. I don't remember how many biofuel we tried to use. It was pretty hard to break in there, but we also had temporary characters. We aren't guys who've been playing for a long time on that server.
Right.
But no, that'll be constantly be tuned, and we're always looking at ways to improve base security. One day we'd like to do roofs. We'd like to do more stories. It's just all about performance and making sure that it's not going to hurt the game more than it makes it fun.
Yeah, makes sense.
Laz, we should ask about crafting.
Okay.
He's begging.
Well, there's more questions ahead of him, and we'll get to the crafting. But one of the things, like with Dota and other games with the Steam Workshop, is people can make their own stuff to put into the workshop. Is that going to be a thing with H1Z1?
So at Daybreak, we've got the Player Studio that we've been using for a long time. We've had it for PlanetSide 2, EQ, and the rest, where we've had some people actually make some real money getting their items into our games, which is sick because we end up selling items they have, and then they get a cut of that. So we absolutely want to do stuff like that for H1Z1. We're not sure when that's going to come down the line. I mean, as you can see, if you've been playing consistently, we've got we have what's the word I'm looking for? We've been improving the character models and things, right? Like we're in the high-res textures, so we ourselves are like making sure our art pipeline is getting better and better, and we want to make sure we're there before we open up the floodgates for everyone else.
Okay, yeah, it makes sense because, like I said, the whole marketplace, and because there are actually people who make a living off just crafting items.
Yes.
I mean it's a pretty big market.
What did you just do, by the way? Did you just go off the edge of the world?
I saw that.
I just looked over and it's just like huge.
It was telling me I was leaving the quarantine, so I kept running. I was trying to escape the virus, man. But no, oh, these are spikes. There's a lot of questions about crafting, like she said, and they're looking for. Would you please ask Jamie about crafting? How are you going to proceed on this topic? Proceed, I guess, more recipes.
Yes is the answer.
Yes.
I mean, like, that's going to be a constant thing. I mean, crafting is a huge part of our game. I mean, that is a huge driver of progression. I mean, that's what makes you feel like your character needs to stay alive. You need to keep your materials. You're trying to hoard everything you possibly can to get the crops you want. And the big thing is to reward the long-term player. I mean, I personally don't work on crafting, but Paul Carrico does, and he's fantastic. He's really big into that game style. And we want people who spend the time to go out and actually make their base, stake their claim, grow the corn, and whatever other crops come along. You can start crafting things from that lead into higher tiers and higher tiers. So yes, that'll keep expanding.
Oh man, I just got a wearable crate. So happy. And I just hurt myself. Okay. Yeah. So let's see. Scroll down the list some more, and we'll probably try to get you out of here at least 10 minutes for your next stream, Jimmy. That we have time to kind of use the
actually
restroom.
probably have to head out here in probably the next just couple minutes to actually get ready for that one.
Karma.
All right, guys. So we're gonna have Jimmy for, let's say, 5 more minutes, and then we're going to kick him out. So, you see any questions that jumping out at you, Rydis?
Yeah, there's someone keeps asking about karma. Cool abilities.
A karma
there.
system?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's one that's always in discussion. Not quite there yet. I mean, we want to be careful to not have a million different rule sets and split things down the middle, but we are looking at statistics of what servers are being used and which ones can be recycled. It's like there's an incredibly small player base on one rule set or another, and to try out new things. So that might be something, still might be something we're going to do. Not quite sure yet on that one. We're trying to still focus on the core game right now and make sure the functionality's there.
Okay. Hopefully that'll answer this question. But let's see. When can we throw honey at players and have bears chase them?
That would be awesome.
You know what? I hadn't thought about this, but with the throwables, we could do stuff like that. I don't know. We could do. I mean, the problem is the bear would have to be in the area, so that could.
You're not gonna have a bear come charging across the map.
Yeah, no, we're not gonna do that. But it would be fun to be like, dude, bear, stop, and like your buddy starts crouching, or not buddy, whatever, and you just throw a bunch of honey at him, and he then goes running.
I'd totally be handcuffing people, throwing honey on them.
Well, I mean, like I already wonder what's happening when people are handcuffed. I was just running by one of the churches and just open field over by the campers. This guy goes running by handcuffed inexplicably. Like there's no one. I sat there for a second watching this from a bush. I'm like, is there someone chasing him? Like, what exactly happened here? But this dude's just booking it, hands behind his back. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, it's like the ultimate troll move. Like you basically find some handcuffs in a cabin, and another player ends up running up, and why you've just found these handcuffs? Why wouldn't you use them?
Yeah, no, you gotta.
Someone wants to know about the test servers.
Yes, I was actually trying to get on the test server last night to kind of look at some of the new stuff.
Oh, you're talking about like when we're updating them, or what specifically is the question?
I get G99 every time I try to join the actual test client.
So we are going to be doing a lot of maintenance on those things. We're going to be doing a lot of patching to those. So they're not going to be the most stable thing out there. We're going to try to be better about communicating when a patch is going out and when it's going to be safe and stable to test it out, because we want to get a really good push just to make sure that obviously we're not crashing a bunch of clients, and that if you throw a Molotov at some zombies that it might explode and actually explode your client, things like that. So that is mostly on us to make sure that we have days set where everyone can jump on together and test. And it'd be fun if it was with us too, right? I mean, if we jumped on the stream to show off the new patch and you guys were around trolling us and we're trolling you by spawning bears, whatever. So.
Cool. And weather. What about weather?
Weather's still being worked on. We really needed to step back and make sure that the weather system we had previously looked really good, and it was in game for a short amount of time. But we need to work out some issues before we throw it back in. But it is something. Oh my God, are you dead? Sorry,
Yes.
I'm way behind.
that was the whoa you just heard.
Well, did you go after him? I didn't even see how that all
Yeah,
started.
he came at me with like a knife or something, and I was like, all right, the hell with this. I'm
All
gonna
right,
pull out my
knife fight,
axe.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Pull out a gun.
Yeah.
You actually
It's,
brought an axe to a gunfight.
He has no honor. I mean, that's a very dishonorable thing to do. And
That's very
H1Z1's
dishonorable.
all about the honor.
Of course,
someone
yes.
keep-
If you have no honor in the apocalypse, what do you have? Besides your safety
ammo?
and everything else. Yeah.
Bear
Yes.
skin?
No honor, you have ammo.
Trails.
Longevity is the answer, I think.
Yes.
Someone keeps asking about selling non-open mystery bags.
Oh,
or
that I
elite
don't know.
bags.
I'm not sure. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool, actually. I don't see
Oh,
why
what
not.
about swimming?
Swimming? Not there yet. I mean, it's actually a pretty complicated thing to solve, but it's been in conversation a lot recently. We have to actually get water volumes working and then have the animation set up, and then we've got to take the plunge, pardon the pun, to the ground and actually like make that water deeper. Well,
Did you
we'll
plan
see.
that pun in advance?
I actually did not. I started to say it, and I'm like, this is going to be a pun.
Yes.
Oh, this is a good one. A combat log. A lot of people have brought this up, actually. Who killed you or who you've killed, etc.
We are trying to be careful about what stats we throw out to make sure that we're not going to encourage any particular type of gameplay, but we are looking at the journals and we are looking at showing certain events to the character throughout that sort of mechanism. We also, the session stats are going to expand into a few other things, but not sure to what specifics yet. Not sure how specific yet.
Okay. I think one final question before we close it down, because I really like this question, and one of my favorite things about the Arma mod zombie game, DayZ, is the amount of different weapons in the game.
Yes.
What weapons do you want to see added to the game, and when can we expect more guns?
All of them, and hopefully soon. I mean, like, I'm a big gun guy. I love FPS games, like shooting. Thousands of rounds myself growing up. I'm from Oklahoma once again, so that's just a thing that you do. But we want to use the animation sets we have now for the guns that are going to look and work the best, and that includes things like more striker type pistols. So right now we have the 1911, we got the M9 and 380. Those are all striker types, so semi-automatics. And from there we can go into the Glocks and a bunch of other things like that. With assault rifles, almost every assault rifle, with the exception of a bullpup, fits within our animation set there. So we can move into the AK-47s, and we can move into the SKSs and all that fun stuff. We can very much go out. One thing that we do want to be careful with is how many different types of ammunition we put into the game. You could imagine how hectic that might become if you have 70 different rifles out there, and they require 30 different types of ammunition, 7.62 to 223 and the 308s.
You would never find the right ammo for your weapon.
Exactly. So we may have to take a little bit of artistic license on this, or creative license, and say that, maybe an AK shoots 7.62, and so does I'm trying to think of a non-7.62 rifle, something else. I mean, we might just start actually saying that there's a bunch of guns that normally wouldn't use this ammunition, but we're going to make it for the game, just for the simplicity and making sure that people don't punch me in the face when I go to PAX.
Right.
Like, why did you do this to me? I never find the right ammo.
People are pretty serious about their like realism when it comes to what do you mean by my AK's firing NATO rounds.
Right. Well, I mean, at the same time, though, I mean, DayZ for the longest time did have the same ammunition types for a lot of the different guns that wouldn't normally use that.
Right.
They only started expanding later on, and personally, I would like to keep it more simple. It is nice now, though. We can have more ammunition types because of the workbenches, so you can take your 2-for-1s. Like, you can take two 7.62s and turn it into 308 or whatever. So maybe it's not as bad. We'll just have to see how it goes. I would much rather stick within the caliber of ammunitions we have now and just see where we can go with that. Because, even with the pistol ammo, we can move our way into some of the SMGs. And there are some smaller rifles that'll use pistol caliber ammo. So we'll see.
Yeah, awesome. Which you need to get out of here because you have another stream to go to.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me. I do have to go.
Thank you.
So everyone,
Thank you guys.
Everyone, thank Jimmy in chat, please, and everyone, thanks for showing up, watching the stream, and we'll see you guys all in a little bit. We're going to shut down the stream for about 5 minutes. We're going to go back live. We're going to play some H1Z1, and make sure you guys all tune into the actual live H1Z1 channel in 15 minutes to catch the stream. Is it going to be you and Clegg and?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's just me and Clegg. I don't know why you were lied to. I think they said Steve, but it's me and Clegg.
Okay. All right. So you and Clegg again, guys. So with that, guys, we're going to sign off. Thank you, Jimmy, for helping us out, and we'll see you guys
Thank
next
you
time.
guys. All right, we'll see you
Have
later.
a good night.
Yep.
Bye.